there's a ton of great use cases and stories from the trenches and ripped from the headline events as it relates to IoT and OT level attacks. But I always try to use something that's relatively current. And this one came out in May 2nd from Mandiant. And it really shows how IoT and network devices in particular, in this case, are used for persistence and evasion. Now, the way this particular attack worked is pretty interesting. Let's say an attacker gets into an organization through any one of the normal steps, a phishing attack and some malware in an email, whatever the case is, they're able to get in, let's say, to someone's laptop. Well, what we're finding attackers are doing now, and this is across the board, cyber criminals, nation state actors like APT28 and APT29, they're getting in through IT, but then they're quickly looking for network devices and IoT devices to hide. So whether that's a load balancer, a NAS, a wireless access point, a camera, a phone, a printer, whatever, I've rattled off these device types, you guys get it. They're looking for those devices because one, they know the passwords are probably default. If it's not default, it probably has old firmware with a whole bunch of vulnerabilities. No one's managing it. No one's looking at it. What a great place to hide. So in this case, it's called quiet exit. These attackers compromised, they got in through IT, compromised some network devices and IoT devices, usually running Linux. Again, most of these are Linux. On the network side, it's mostly BSD. But they recompiled a version of Dropbear SSH. It's client-server software that allows for a reverse tunnel. And they're able to install that software on these network devices and these IoT devices. Once there, they had full command and control. So they got in through the laptop, pivoted to these devices, installed some software, and now remotely they can control them. Once there, they used those devices to make API calls to on-prem and cloud-based exchange services. And particularly, they were targeting emails and attachments from executives, corp dev, M&A, groups like that. And then they would go ahead and siphon that information out back through that reverse tunnel. In many cases, they maintained persistence and evaded detection for over a year and a half. It's because no one's looking at these devices. It's because these devices are just as powerful and just as capable as your database servers and web servers, somewhat in terms of capabilities, but they have the same ports, they've got storage, they've got the same ability to install tools and scan and analyze and exfiltrate and compress and all the things that you'd want to do if you attack somebody and you were based on a laptop. The difference is there's no endpoint security installed. No one's watching them. No one's monitoring. And unless you have a tool like Phosphorus, partnered up with somebody like CyberArk to manage those credentials, to make sure the firmware is up to date, to make sure you're noticing that, hey, something weird just happened over here, right? Then no one's going to check because you just have too many devices. And that's what the bad guys are counting on. They're counting on the problem just seems too big, it's insurmountable, so I'm going to move on and just point fingers and close my eyes and cover my ears and hope bad things don't happen. That's why attacks like quiet exit are becoming the new. And countries like Russia, for example, and other countries as well, but Russia built a tool called Frontend, specifically used to target IoT devices. And there's other countries that do it as well, because why bang your head against firewalls and endpoint security and application security and encryption when you can take these backdoors?